Tonight, on First at 9 this Wednesday the 19th of March 2025. IGP remanded. Suspended IGP Deshabandhu Tennakon remanded until tomorrow after appearing before the Matara Magistrates Court 20 days after the court issued a warrant for his arrest. Silenced. Speaker of Parliament imposes a ban on the live broadcast of Jaffna District MP Ramanathan Arjuna's parliamentary speeches for the next 8 sessions. Countdown. The deadline for placing security deposits for local government elections concludes. Nominations close at 12 noon tomorrow. Choice of the Youth. TV Derana shines once again, being recognized as the Youth Choice Television Channel of the Year for the 8th consecutive time at the Slim Kanta People's Awards 2025.
Winning Slim Kanta People's Youth Choice Television Channel of the Year Award.
Chilo Dairy, Sri Lankawam, Kiren Perata. ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟම ඇති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
කන්ට පරිස්සම් කරගත්තොත් අපි පරිස්සම්.
ඉතින් මොකටද නිකන් නාගන්නේ? ස්වදේශී කොහොඹ ලෙමන් ග්‍රාස් අද කාලෙට ෆ්‍රෙෂ්ම විසඳුම.
This is Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9, brought to you by Sri Lanka's premium news provider, Derana. I'm Tarindu Mahendra, joining you live with the latest in Sri Lanka and around the world. In your top story this evening, Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Tennakon was remanded until tomorrow by the Matara Magistrates Court after he appeared before the court today. The IGP produced himself before the courts via a motion today after evading arrest for 20 days. On the 27th of February, the Matara Magistrates Court issued arrest warrants against Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Tennakon and 7 other police officers in connection with the death of a Colombo Crime Division officer in a shooting near a hotel in Waligama, Matara on the 31st of December 2023. However, the suspended IGP filed a writ petition before the Court of Appeal in which he sought an interim injunction to suspend the relevant order. However, on the 17th of March, the Court of Appeal dismissed the petition without consideration. Against this backdrop, the Criminal Investigation Department launched multiple search operations to locate IGP Tennakon, who was evading arrest. Accordingly, the IGP's Hokandara residence was inspected by the Criminal Investigation Department yesterday. Meanwhile, in Parliament today, Minister of Public Security and Parliamentary Affairs Anand Vijaypala delivered a special statement in this regard.
During
the inspection of the residence, CID officers recovered a total of 1,009 bottles of liquor, including 795 bottles of foreign liquor and 214 bottles of wine. In addition, a pistol suspected to be Tennakon's firearm and 2 new mobile phones were seized from the residence. We hope to uncover a wealth of information through these mobile phones seized by police. We intend to present additional facts to the court in due course.
Against this backdrop, suspended Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Tennakon appeared before the Matara Magistrates Court this morning along with his attorneys 20 days after the warrant for his arrest was issued.
Several officials of the Criminal Investigation Department arrived at the Matara Magistrate Courts this morning to present facts regarding the confiscation of IGP Tennakon's properties. However, the suspended Inspector General of Police had already appeared before the court by then.
When the legal matter was taken for hearing, President's Counsel Shanika Ranasinghe represented suspect IGP Deshabandhu Tennakon. Presenting facts to the courts, President's Counsel Ranasinghe stated that the decision before the court was whether or not to grant bail to the suspect. He noted that in order to deny bail, it must be established that a suspect is not cooperating with the investigation, is evading court or is influencing witnesses, but highlighted that in this case, Tennakon appeared before the court at the first possible instance after being denied judicial relief by the Court of Appeal. Given the services rendered by the IGP to combat organised crime and drug abuse in the country through the Yuktiya program, the President's Counsel pointed out that placing him in remand custody would endanger his life and requested that the IGP be released on bail. Meanwhile, Additional Solicitor General Dileepa Pires, appearing on behalf of the prosecution, strongly criticised the suspect Deshabandhu Tennakon, who evaded arrest for 20 days. The Additional Solicitor General also presented facts regarding the properties owned by the suspect and the investigations conducted in this regard. He noted that no properties were registered in the suspect's name, but that according to the investigations conducted so far, it was revealed that the suspect was in informal possession of at least 8 residences. The additional Solicitor General went on to say that the names of Deshabandhu Tennakon or his family members are not even listed in the electoral register since 2021. After presenting facts, the additional Solicitor General objected to granting bail to suspect Deshabandhu Tennakon. Additional Solicitor General Dilipa Piris stated that the suspect should reveal where he was in hiding since the 27th of February. The Additional Solicitor General added that those who aided and abetted Tennakon conceal himself during the past 20 days will also be brought before the law. Additionally, he noted that the other 7 suspects ordered to be arrested in connection with the Valigama shooting should appear before the court, as the agreement reached between the Attorney General and the suspects' attorneys not to take legal action against them is now void. After considering the facts presented, the Matara Magistrates Court ordered Suspended Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Tennakon to be remanded until tomorrow.
පිරිපුන් ජීවිතයකට ඔබ සමගින් පෙරට Union Assurance.
චන්දුරුසුමේ කාගෙන් මන අපේ සිංහ TV සඳහා සුපිරි ඩීල්.
Speaker of Parliament Dr. Jagat Vikramaratne announced a ban on the live broadcast of Jaffna District MP Ramanathan Archuna's statements on audiovisual and social media for the next 8 parliamentary sessions starting tomorrow. Meanwhile, the committee stage debate on the budget 2025 continued today for the 17th consecutive day.
I would like to inform the House that I have received numerous complaints from individuals, civil organizations, government representatives and opposition members regarding the degrading and insulting language used by MP Archuna Ramanathan against women, civil groups and religious leaders. As the head of the House, I have been urged to take action on this matter. Despite my repeated advice, MP Archuna Ramanathan has failed to correct his behavior. After carefully analyzing his statements and in accordance with the powers vested in me under the standing orders, I hereby order that no statements made by this MP in Parliament be published or broadcast live on any visual or audio-visual media during the sessions on March 20th, 21st, April 8th, 9th, 10th and May 6th, 7th and 8th. Additionally, I would like to inform the House that any statements made by him containing degrading or insulting language will be removed from the Hansard. Furthermore, after evaluating his statements during the period of this prohibition, steps will be taken to determine whether this temporary ban should be lifted.
During the presidential election, one of the key promises made by the president was the removal of the 18% tax imposed on essential services. He pledged to eliminate it in the first budget itself. However, this has not been implemented. Similarly, a commitment was made regarding the removal of VAT on school equipment, but that too has not been fulfilled. If we analyze the National Consumer Price Index, we can see that in 2019, the monthly cost of living for a 4-member household was 43,391 rupees. By January 2025, this has increased to 104,851 rupees, reflecting a 60,000 rupee increase. Notably, only 39% of this amount is spent on food, while 60% is allocated for other expenses, posting a potential health risk in the coming months. Given this situation, more funds need to be allocated to the health sector, as the public has been forced to rely on cheaper, less nutritious food options.
There are significant issues in how the poverty line is being calculated. I urge you to review this matter carefully, as national policies must be based on accurate data. When policies are formulated based on incorrect data, the entire system suffers. Furthermore, it is the responsibility of your ministry to oversee international trade agreements. We have multiple bilateral, multilateral and regional trade agreements in place. I would like to ask, what is our national trade policy? How are we formulating these free trade agreements in a way that ensures value addition and competitive advantage for our country? Do we have the necessary technical expertise and skilled negotiators to engage in strong trade discussions? We need a specialized trade representative for our country. Additionally, the European Union has initiated discussions on whether to grant the GSP Plus benefits or not. Given the national economic and trade policies of the newly elected US President, this will be a challenging task.
මේ US GSP Plus එක නැති වෙන්නේ අපිට විතරක් නෙමෙයි ගරු විපක්ෂ නායකතුමා මේක නැති වෙනවා සියලුම
All countries will lose the GSP Plus benefit, not just Sri Lanka. Since the 31st of December 2020, the US Congress has not approved the continuation of the US GSP Plus for beneficiary nations. We are planning to address this issue and have already scheduled discussions with US representatives in September. Furthermore, the apparel sector has already been excluded from GSP Plus, and we are actively working on this matter as well. Regarding international agreements, we have initiated assessments of existing trade agreements and are currently in discussions with Vietnam for a new trade agreement. Additionally, we are scheduling trade discussions with Iran in May. As a government, we are taking the necessary steps to improve the lives of the public.
අපේ රජයක් හැටියට කටයුතු කරනවා.
When we deal with bringing investment and trade, unless we have a vibrant judiciary, we cannot entice investors to come into Sri Lanka. The first concern, an investor coming and investing in Sri Lanka, if he has issues with the regulators, if he has issues with the local partners, how we could resolve it. We have brought in a commercial high court in Sri Lanka. However, from the commercial high court, there is only one right of appeal. Earlier from the district court, you can go to the court of appeal and then to the Supreme Court. Even with that mechanism, for one to have fruits of a victory of a decree, it will take 10 years. So unless we revamp our judiciary, where with regard to commercial matters, especially when foreigners come to invest in Sri Lanka, that we give them investment confidence that through a vibrant judiciary, we will be able to protect their rights.
The acceptance of security deposits for the upcoming local government elections concluded at 12 noon today. With the acceptance of nominations set to conclude at 12 noon tomorrow, several political parties submitted their nomination lists to the Election Commission today. Acceptance of security deposits for the upcoming local government elections, during which members are to be elected to 336 local government institutions, concluded at 12 noon today. Acceptance of nominations for the elections, which commenced at 8:30 am on the 17th of March, is scheduled to conclude at 12 noon tomorrow. The National People's Power today submitted nominations for several districts, including Polonnaruwa, Kalutara, Kegol and Matale.
Other political parties do not pose any challenge to this government. There are a number of promises that we made to the people of this country. We were elected to office with the expectation that these tasks would be completed in 5 years. Our sole challenge is completing the development plans we committed to before the elections.
Meanwhile, the Samaga Jana Balawege handed over nominations for a number of districts, including Colombo, Kegol and Ratnapura.
The true identity of this government will be revealed in just 3 more months. It has been 100 days since this government came into power. However, there's no progress to be witnessed as of today. For the first time in history, a government has hit rock bottom.
The Sarvajana Bale too submitted nominations for several local government bodies in the Colombo and Kalutara districts.
The general public has become exhausted after observing the shortcomings of this government. Those who advocate for change in the past are now trying to reverse that change. The Sarvajana Bale is ready to address the concerns of the public through the upcoming local government elections. The opposition parties have agreed to work together to defeat the government that misled the people. We think that the opposition political parties will share authority over all local government entities in the Colombo district. We may form alliances with other parties if we are unable to secure power as a lone party. We have reached a mutual agreement in this regard.
The United National Party also handed over nominations for a number of districts, including Kalutara.
The government has failed to fulfill any of the promises they made. They pledged to reduce fuel prices and the cost of goods. However, they have failed to do so. They even vowed to put an end to organized crime and bring the real perpetrators before the law. However, nothing has been done so far. The people doesn't seem to be too supportive of the NPP either.
Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Podu Jana Peramuna too submitted nominations for several districts, including Kalutara.
We asked the President to provide evidence for at least 3 commitments that they have so far been able to fulfill. The Sri Lanka Potujana Peramuna poses the most powerful challenge for the government. We urge the government to prepare themselves to face this contest.
Fast track your career from O levels with eSoft.
ඩයිබටිසෝල් සීනිවලින් පරිස්සම් වන ඔබට අමතක නොවන පෝෂණය.
කැලනි වයර් කිසිගින්නක් නෑ.
කිසිගින්නක් නෑ. කැලනි ෆයර් ෂීල්ඩ් වයර්.
The Supreme Court today dismissed without consideration the fundamental rights petition filed by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa challenging the government's decision to reduce the strength of his security detail to 60 personnel. The Apex Court ruled that the petitioning party had failed to submit sufficient facts to warrant the consideration of the petition. The fundamental rights petition filed by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa seeking a ruling that his fundamental rights were violated by the government's decision to reduce the strength of his security detail to 60 personnel without a proper security assessment was taken for consideration today before a 3-member bench of the Supreme Court comprising Justices Preeti Padman Surasena, Achala Vengappuli and Mahinda Samayawardana. President's counsel Ali Sabri, who represented the petitioner Mahinda Rajapaksa, claimed that his client led the effort to conclude the 30-year civil conflict and that as such has become a chief target of the LTTE. Responding to an inquiry by the bench, the President's counsel clarified that his client's 203-member security detail had been reduced to 60 from the 31st of October last year and that only 6 or 7 personnel were on duty during one shift. He claimed that during a recent public meeting, the incumbent president had warned that his client's security detail would be further reduced if there was too much complaining and asserted that the president does not have the authority to make such a decision and that arbitrarily reducing the strength of his client's security detail without a formal security assessment is contrary to law. President's counsel Ali Sabri, who further asserted that ensuring the safety of individuals is the responsibility of the government, highlighted the fact that the Sri Lankan government for over 3 decades had provided security to the family of Rohana Vijayveera, who had twice led insurrections against the lawfully elected government. Thereafter, Additional Solicitor General Rohan Tabe Surya, appearing for the respondents, emphasised that the decision regarding the petitioner's security was taken by an expert committee to assess VIP security, which comprises the head of the Presidential Security Division, the head of the Ministerial Security Division, the commander of the Police Special Task Force, the secretary to the Minister of Public Security, among other security authorities, which has been in continuous operation since 2015. He also stated that the committee periodically conducts security assessments of all former presidents and other VIPs and submits observations regarding security, and asserted that no infringement of fundamental rights had occurred through this procedure. Having considered the facts presented, the 3-member Supreme Court bench announced that it would dismiss the petition without taking it up for hearing, as sufficient facts had not been disclosed to warrant its consideration. TV Derana was awarded the Youth Choice Television Channel of the Year for the 8th consecutive year at the Slim Kanta People's Awards 2025, reaffirming Derana's position as the Sri Lankan television channel that is most in tune with the pulse of the youth. Derana's Chatura Alves, meanwhile, was awarded the People's Television Presenter of the Year for the 7th consecutive time.
Slim Kanta People's Awards 2025.
Slim Kanta People's Awards 2025 were held with glamour last evening in Colombo. Veteran actor Sanath Gunatilaka was the chief guest of the event. Slim Kanta has been awarding brands and personalities that are closest to the hearts of the Sri Lankan people since 2007, based on consumer preferences determined on the results of a survey rather than by a panel of judges. TV Derana was awarded the Youth Choice Television Channel of the Year for the 8th consecutive year, asserting once again that Derana is the Sri Lankan television channel that is most in tune with the pulse of the youth.
Youth Choice Television Channel of the Year is
TV Derana.
TV Derana! Congratulations TV Derana! අපේ රැකගෙන අලුත් දේ අරගෙන
Meanwhile, broadcast journalist Chatura Alvis won the award for People's Television Presenter of the Year for the 7th consecutive time.
Slim Cantor People's Television Presenter of the Year is
Chatura Alvis.
Chatura Alvis from TV Derana.
TV Derana's broadcast journalist Indiveri Amuwatha accepted the award on his behalf.
Congratulations, Chatura Alvis, and on behalf of Chatura, we have Indiveri coming on stage. Name Chatura. Kavadavat dakala thiyena award ceremony solta enawa.
Chatura
Chatura travel karanawa.
Joint awards were presented for the Teledrama Actress of the Year, which were won by Nethbi Rochelle and Nayanthara Wickramaratchi.
Nethbi Rochelle and Nayanthara Wickramaratchi.
Meanwhile, Sajitha Anthony was awarded the Teledrama Actor of the Year.
The winner is Sajitha Anthony.
The award for the People's Female Singer of the Year was won by Shashika Nisansala. Meanwhile, Chamara Veerasinghe was awarded the People's Male Singer of the Year.
Slim Cantor People's Awards 2025.
Welcome back. Now, President Anura Dissanayake says these strikes launched by health trade unions cannot be condoned given the concessions provided to health professionals through the budget. The head of state made this statement during a meeting with the Public Services United Nurses Union today. Meanwhile, the 24-hour token strike launched by Supplementary Health Services and Paramedical Services trade unions concluded this morning. Supplementary Health Services and Paramedical Services trade unions launched a 24-hour token strike action at 7 a.m. yesterday at all government hospitals in protest of the government's failure to fulfill the promises issued during discussions regarding the decision to reduce the allowances of paramedical professionals through its maiden budget. Accordingly, 16 medical professionals bodies, including the Government Medical Laboratory Technologists Association, the Government Radiological Technologists Association, the All Ceylon Government Pharmacists Association, which are affiliated with the Joint Federation of Paramedical Professionals, as well as the Sri Lanka Public Health Inspectors Association, the Government Dental Technicians Association and the Family Health Service Officers Association, which are affiliated with the Paramedical Services Joint Front, joined the strike action. However, some doctors, nurses and junior medical staff did not support the token strike. Additionally, the All Ceylon Medical Laboratory Technologists Association did not partake in the strikes. Nevertheless, medical services at government hospitals island-wide, including at the National Hospital Colombo, were disrupted owing to the strike action, inconveniencing patients. Meanwhile, a discussion took place yesterday between the Minister of Health and NPP-affiliated health professionals associations.
The officials of the Ministry of Finance met with the representatives of Supplementary Health Services and Paramedical Services unions yesterday. They had already decided to conduct the strike action by the time they arrived for the meeting. This is despite the considerable increase in their basic salaries. Certain individuals are projecting their anger and pain over not being able to win a seat in the parliament.
However, the island-wide strike actions conducted by health professionals unions concluded at 7 a.m. this morning. Accordingly, medical services at government hospitals, including the Colombo National Hospital, were provided as usual today. Meanwhile, today, President Anura Dissanayake met with representatives of the Association of Medical Specialists at the President's office. During the meeting, a list of suggestions, including ensuring the safety of health workers, was presented to the President. In the meantime, the President also met with representatives of the Public Services United Nurses Union. The President stated that salaries of government employees have been increased by 6 different methods and added that the pension scale has also been increased from this year onwards in accordance with the increased total salary and that the threshold for the payee tax has also been increased. The President asserted that given these concessions, these strike actions launched by health unions were unacceptable. After the meeting, Chairman of the Public Services United Nurses Union, Venerable Muruthettuwe Anandathera, stated that the union's future course of action would be decided after considering the circular regarding salaries, which the President had claimed is due to be issued on the 24th of March. Releasing national accounts estimates, the Department of Census and Statistics states that Sri Lanka's GDP growth for the year 2024 has been estimated at a 5% positive growth rate. According to the DCS, with GDP having shown a growth from 11.88 trillion rupees in 2023 to 12.47 trillion rupees at constant prices. At current prices, GDP increased by 9% to 29.9 trillion rupees. The key sectors contributed are agriculture, industry services and taxes. In the fourth quarter of 2024, GDP growth was 5.4%, up from 4.3% in the same period of 2023. The economy reached 3.25 trillion rupees at constant prices and 7.86 trillion rupees at current prices. Agriculture declined by 2.2%, while industry and services grew by 13.1% and 2.5% respectively. According to the DCS, the constantly falling inflation raised positive expectations of the economy, and as input costs fell, producers also reduced sale prices. Sri Lanka's Purchasing Managers Index for manufacturing recorded an index value of 56.8 in February this year, indicating a slowed but continued expansion in manufacturing activities. This expansion is attributed to positive contributions from all sub-indices. The central bank stated that there has been an increase in production and new orders, particularly in the food and beverage manufacturing sector, due to the upcoming festive season. Additionally, expectations for manufacturing activities over the next 3 months remain positive, primarily due to the upcoming festive season. Meanwhile, the PMI for services recorded an index value of 56.5 in February, indicating a slow expansion in service activities. Business activities across all sectors showed improvement during the month. Employment continued to rise in anticipation of the festive season, and expectations for business activities over the next 3 months continue to improve at an accelerated pace. Now in your stock update, the Colombo Bourse ended in positive territory today with turnover crossing 1.2 billion rupees. The broader all-share price index closed 0.08% lower at 15,106.16 points, while the S&P SL20 fell by 0.4% to close at 4,502.21 points. The capital goods sector was the top contributor to market turnover, while the banking sector was the second highest contributor. Foreign investors closed as net buyers, purchasing shares worth 14 million rupees. And up next, we have Minal Wickremege from Capital Alliance with some thoughts on the current status of the economy in our next segment, Economic Outlook.
The weekly average weighted prime lending rate increased by 4 basis points to 8.37%, while the average weighted call money rate decreased to 7.94% from 7.98%. Reserve money increased compared to the previous week, mainly due to a rise in currency in circulation. Total outstanding market liquidity expanded to 188.61 billion LKR by March 14th, up from 166.8 billion LKR in the prior week. During the reporting period, Treasury bill, Treasury bond auctions witnessed oversubscription rates of approximately 2 and 2.3 times percent respectively. However, a 20% decline was observed in the total volume of secondary market transactions compared to the previous week.
That's all for tonight on First at 9. Thank you for joining and have a good night.